one of the things I found with Abhinav when we worked very closely on the book, and I went to India and I watched him train in the gym and at his rifle range where he trains. And I think it's fair to say that I've been writing for 25 years, and I can't remember ever meeting an athlete who works that hard. He just works hard every single day. It's almost like he doesn't take an off day, because I think he always wants to feel when he goes to an Olympics or if he's any competition that he is better prepared than anyone else. And I think all of you probably know that if you want to achieve anything, you've got to work hard. And one of the things that he does, for instance, is he might be lying in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he suddenly think of an idea about his shooting, that he wants to do something different. So he used to get out of his bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, he used to go and open his range, he used to put on the lights, he used to put on his shooting jacket, and he used to start training at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I think this is the key to who he is. And I thought maybe we can ask Abhinav a little bit to talk about hard work in two ways. He does hard work outside his range, and he does hard work in his range. And maybe you can talk a little bit how important that is and how much you train and what do you do.
Well, obviously, I'm sure all of you know that the bottom line is that there are absolutely no shortcuts to success. For many, many years, I tried to find the shortcuts, but I just couldn't find any. I think the most important thing is to be honest in what you're doing. I think everybody works hard, but you have to give it your everything. You have to be very honest to what you're doing. If that means that you have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, if you have an idea and go out there and I went out there and shot, I did that. I did that with I made an honest effort. For me, it wasn't hard work. Hard work for me came very naturally, primarily because when I was growing up, I don't think I was the most talented person, and the only way that I could succeed was and overcome all my limitations was to work really hard and work harder than everybody else. And just knowing the fact that I've worked really hard and I've done everything possible in my own hands to prepare for the Olympics, that's what gave me the confidence going into the Olympics. That's what gave me the confidence going into Beijing, that I've done everything possible. I worked the hardest that I could, and when I went to Beijing, I knew that this was my asset. I knew that I've done everything, and I was a winner in my own eyes going into Beijing. Everybody who goes there doesn't necessarily win, but when I went to Beijing, I was a winner in my own eyes, because I knew that I'd done everything possible to work hard. I'd done everything possible that I possibly could, and that gave me confidence. And going into Beijing, I was a winner in my own eyes. So the outcome necessarily didn't matter.
Can you give us an idea of how many hours you used to work and what you did in a gym? That I think people look at shooters and they think they're standing still, so they don't have to be very fit or they don't have to be great athletes. But he works very hard in the gym, and I think he can give you an idea of how many hours he spends in the gym and how many hours do you spend in the range.
Well, when I started to shoot, the primary motivation that I got into shooting was that I thought it's a really easy sport. The only thing you have to do is not move. I hated any kind of physical activity. So I thought this is the perfect sport for me because I just don't have to do anything. I just have to stand still. But when I got into shooting and as things progressed, I was proven pretty wrong, and I knew that I realized that I needed a lot of fitness. I needed to be extremely fit to have those levels of concentration. I normally train about 7 to 8 hours a day, which takes. I shoot for about 4 hours. I do about 2.5 to 3 hours of physical training. I run about 10 kilometers 3 or 4 times a week. I do other stuff in the gym, a little bit of weight training, a little bit of core training, a combination of things. And then I spend an hour and a half to 2 hours doing some mental training. So it's I work on all aspects of performance, and each one is very important. I can't do without any of them, and I have to address all aspects of performance so that when competition comes, I know that I've done everything and addressed all issues that may arise.
So what are the different things that make up a great athlete? If you want to be a great athlete, what do you need? Now, one of the things obviously is, as you said, you need hard work. I think another thing that you need is you need patience, because becoming a great athlete or great in anything, becoming a great mathematician, becoming a great philosopher, becoming a great businessman, anything takes time. Nothing happens overnight. Even though people want to see results very quickly, it takes effort over many years before you get there. So I thought maybe Abhinav can talk a little bit about patience. Number one, patience, why you have to be patient. And the second thing about courage, I think you also need a lot of courage if you want to be anything in life, because you are going to have times when things don't go well. And so what do you do at those times when things don't go well? So maybe you can first talk about patience, why you need to be patient, and then also what sort of courage do you need when times get tough?
My best example for patience is there was a time in 2002, 2003 where I was probably in the best form of my life, and I was shooting extremely well, and I went into a competition, and I thought that everything will just work out and everything will be perfect. But I went into this competition and I failed pretty miserably, because I went into the competition without any patience. When each day, you have to take each day at a time. And when I went into this competition, I just expected things to happen, and I wasn't patient on every shot. And that taught me, that failure really taught me that no matter what happens, you have to be patient, because every shot is a new shot, and anything in life, every day is a new day, and you have to take things one step at a time, one moment at a time, and you have to be patient, because things normally 99% of times in my career have not happened automatically. You have to actually go there and make things happen, and you have to be patient, you have to be disciplined, and patience is probably one of the most important factors required to sustain yourself over a period of time, because you'll probably fail more times than you succeed. I've failed definitely more times than I've succeeded. And looking back, when you fail, I know it's very disappointing. I've been disappointed many times. I've been frustrated on most occasions. But, at the end of it, failure has actually taught me a lot. And I'm sure as you grow up, failure, you'll also fail a lot of times in life, but it'll teach you a lot of things. It'll give you a lot of life lessons. It'll give you lessons to stand up, and standing up after failure requires courage and requires a lot of determination. You have to be honest. Again, I go back to honesty. You have to be honest to your goal and honest to your dream, and when you fail, you have to remain honest to that goal and to that dream. And when you do that, you'll automatically find the courage to forget your failures and learn from them and move ahead and become a better person and succeed in the future.
We always see athletes, if you're watching cricket, you see them in the cricket match, or if you're watching tennis, you see them on the tennis court. And it looks like a great life. You're playing sport and you're earning a lot of money, and life, and you can be reasonably famous, and life looks very good. But life for athletes is also very, very tough. And I think when he talks about courage, I think when he was very young, I think the same age of a few people here, he was about 17 years old, I think. And when he was 17 years old, he went to Europe alone. He was in small countries in Europe where he didn't speak the language, where it was very cold, where he would just go shooting from one tournament to the other, and he would lose. And there was nobody there to help him. And those days, he was not traveling with his parents. He was not traveling with his coach. So you're just sitting alone in a hotel room, and you have failed at a tournament, but you still keep going. And I think that takes a lot of courage. And of course, sometimes you have some quite interesting incidents. I think he used to be quite bad-tempered when he was young. When he lost, he used to get a bit upset. So there was a interesting incident in a hotel in somewhere in Denmark, was it? I think in Europe, where I think I'll let Abhinav tell you the story about what happened to him when he lost. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, so I was in Germany, and I destroyed the curtains of my hotel room. I don't recommend it to any of you to do that. But and then my coach, I was actually training at that time, and my coach, obviously the hotel complained to my coach, and my coach took pictures of the destruction, and I was the courier, and he put through me, he was going to send those pictures to my parents, and he put it in an envelope, and I was going to carry them back home. Luckily, I was the courier, and I destroyed all the evidence before I reached home.
Not a good example for you, but just tells you that sometimes what happens when you get frustrated or whatever. I think I want to go back to another thing, and I think this happens to all of us. I think, even when we're doing a school debate, or if you're playing sport on the ground here, everybody loses. Everybody has bad days. Some days you don't play well, and you think, oh, I want to give it up, and this doesn't suit me, or there's a maths problem that you can't solve, and you say I'm no good in maths or whatever. I think the best story about him is when he went to Athens for the Olympics in 2004, he was expected to win the gold medal, and he believed that he could win the gold medal, yet he shot very badly in Athens in 2004. He shot very badly by his standards, and therefore he failed. Yet 4 years later, he came back and he won the gold medal. So I always wonder, after such a big failure, how do you manage to get back on your feet and start again?
Well, I think it again goes back to honesty. I was honest to my goal. I think the goal to win a gold medal at the Olympics was always my goal, and I remained extremely honest to it. Anything in life, what you do, you have to persist with your goals, and I'm happy that I persisted, and because I persisted, I could have very well quit after Athens. I could have very well moved on to something else in life, but I did not. I took the harder route, and I persisted with my goal, and I finally won in Beijing, and I think it all comes down to persistence and being true to your goal, and to being honest with your goal, and remaining true to it, and sticking with it. Again, it comes back to patience as well. I was patient. Deep down in my mind, I did believe that my time would come, and I just had to be more. I just had to wait a little bit longer. It was difficult. It was frustrating, but because I persisted, I could finally succeed.
Well, also, what we'd also like to know from Abhinav, I wonder who he looks up to as an athlete. I like Lionel Messi. I also like Sachin Tendulkar, the Indian batsman. So let's ask Abhinav who his heroes are, and what does he learn from his heroes, and also whether he watches cricket as well.
I love watching cricket. I'm an avid cricket fan. I've been kind of disappointed in the last few months, but. Well, obviously my big cricket hero is Sachin Tendulkar, like everybody else's. But I think I have a lot of respect for for every athlete who competes, because I know how difficult it is to succeed, and I understand that everybody is not as talented as perhaps somebody else, and I have respect for the hard work that everybody puts in, because everybody is trying to overcome a certain amount of limitations, and I respect that, and I respect all the hard work it takes and all the effort that athletes put in. So I have a lot of respect for every athlete. It could be an athlete at a club level, at a district level, at a state level, but I understand that the athlete is trying to give his or her best, and I really respect that. And for me, every athlete who competes at any level is a hero in his or her way.
Okay, thanks for that, Abhinav. I think Abhinav has looked at a lot of areas. I think that he's talked about honesty and patience and courage and failure and hard work. And but I don't think you come to listen to me. I'm sure you have lots of questions for Abhinav. I hope you do. Any question, whatever you want to know. And so I'd like to open up the floor to anybody who would like to ask questions to Abhinav.